it's okay with you, we'll jump right into the curtain call.
Jump away, curtain call, baby. I am ready. Gonna pull behind the curtain. You ain't gonna like what you see, so go ahead and give it a shot.
All right. So now we're in the curtain call with Mr. Todd Whitaker. Todd, tell us, how did you meet your wife?
I met my wife in a school law class at the University of Missouri, and I took the class with my girlfriend. And so we were a cozy little threesome there that summer for a while, but it's the best thing I ever did. And my wife is absolutely brilliant, maybe the most talented educator I've ever had an opportunity to work with. So we have a lot of supper table talk. My daughters are also in education. My son is probably going to get into education. And so we just love it. We just feel like it's the best profession that there is.
And you guys been married how long?
33 years. And she says it's been 17 of the happiest years of her life.
She sounds like a peach.
I'm just glad we made it to double figures, let me tell you.
When you had kids, and now they came up through the education system and whatnot.
Right.
What did they teach you about leadership? What did your kids teach you about education that you didn't know before you had kids?
Just how personal it is. I think maybe just how personal education is. You know, the other thing we always have to realize is parents bring us the best ones they got. They don't keep the good ones at home with them. They drop them off too. And I think it's also to realize that parents and teachers all want exactly the same thing. We may think there's different ways to get it. We all want exactly the same thing, what's best for their kids. We really do. And so the other thing is how, you know, it's really funny because I talk about great teachers and people go, how do people know what teachers are great? I go, just ask the kids. They all know. You know, my kids just reinforce the fact that the difference between the best teacher and the worst teacher is a cavern, not a sliver.
Are there any conspiracies that you believe in? Like you're real curious about aliens or Bigfoot or who shot JFK? Any conspiracies you find real fascinating?
I think that most conspiracies are probably about as ridiculous as they could possibly be, in my opinion. It's like Colin Cowherd says, if there was a Bigfoot, if Bigfoot was true, wouldn't you find a dead one every once in a while?
I love that guy. He's hilarious.
So anyhow, I'm not a big, it's almost always the simplest thing. It truly is. It's almost always the simplest answer, the simplest approach. So that's my opinion.
What's your favorite sports team?
I'm a big St. Louis Cardinal fan. My oldest daughter's named after Whitey Herzog, which is frightening but true. And matter of fact, he's the first person my wife and I ever told she was pregnant, which is a frightening but true story. I'm a big University of Missouri fan. I went to University of Missouri, and that's the only place I would have left Indiana State for. I wouldn't have moved anywhere else, just come to Missouri. And so I'm a big Missouri football, basketball fan, and I'm a loyal guy. So winning and losing doesn't make any difference to me. You know, I also used to coach, which changes your perspective. And I work with professional coaches around the United States. It's so strange. And I always tell people all the time, I go, you know what makes winning so hard is the other team wants to win too. See, if the other team didn't want to win, this would be easy. But the problem is the other team wants to win too. And you got about a 50% chance going into almost any game at winning. And it's just helping people understand that. And I just enjoy the game and enjoy teams to being developed. And when I go and work with coaches, I don't teach them offense and defense. I teach them how to get players to try as hard as they possibly can. And that's the same thing I teach leaders, how to get the people you work with to work as hard as they possibly can, you know, to try as hard as they possibly can. And it's the exact same skill set.
You know, you've done so many things that I want to do in my life. In particular, just be great at what you do. And so I guess my question is what's next for you? What do you hope to achieve in life now, like from now to the day you die? What's that bucket list that you really want to accomplish?
Well, I'm hoping it's a long stretch between now and the day I die, but you don't ever know about that. So, you know, what's the old quote they give to John Lennon, but it isn't, where a teacher asked John Lennon, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he said, happy. And the teacher goes, well, you don't understand the question. And he goes, no, you don't understand the answer. I guess just see people. I am absolutely fortunate. You know, it's really funny. I'm not a book salesman. I've written 50 plus books, and I'm not a book salesman. I write books so people know what to do. That's it. Because I talk fast, because I bore so easily. I'm worried I bore everyone else also. So I write books so you know exactly what to do. Literally when you read my books, it's you sit here, you say this, you start with this sentence, then you say this. If they say this, you say this. If they say this, you say this. And it's because people want to be good. The other thing I really, and it's something for everyone, and I mean this, my daughters and I have written a couple books together. We wrote one called Your First Year for first year teachers, and one called Classroom Management from the Ground Up. And it's really funny because I've gotten a lot into student management, and that seems so old school, but it isn't, because here's what I say. What percent of teachers in a school would like their job better if they were better at managing their class? 100%. But what percent of teachers would significantly like their job better? At least half. And once you teach that and how to do that in an effective and humane way, that's very powerful. So it's been really fun to work with my daughters. We present a lot together. The only problem is now they're so good at presenting. No, honestly, I feel like I'm nothing but eye candy. So anyhow, my wife always goes, trust me, you ain't eye candy. I just want to see people make a difference. That's it. I want us to stop looking for some mystical thing. We have the solution. Every school has someone who's found the solution. We just need to replicate it. That's it. We have the solutions. We just have to replicate them. We don't have to do anything new. We just have to replicate what it is. You already told me that in your school, you knew 3 teachers that were going to figure out this virtual education when it went overnight. You knew it because there's something those people have. And you know what else they have? They have a curiosity. They have a willingness to learn. They have a vulnerability to go and ask. And you know what I really ask people to do? Trust your gut. Your gut's right. What happens is we're surrounded by so many average people. We think average is great, and we're wrong. Average is average. When I say poor lecturer's classroom, you know where I came up with that? I'm like, well, the answer can't be lecture. We've got great lecturers and we got poor lecturers. How can that be the variable? And all you have to do is my whole life's like that. It's like people talk about participation trophies and they say that's the bane of the Western world. I go, what? I go, do you know at least one great kid that's got a participation trophy? Yes. How did they overcome that burden? They have to come from 2-parent families to overcome. It's never participation. It's just crummy people want it to be participation trophies because they want an excuse for being no good. And there's always excuses for being no good. I'll tell you a quick story. I work with professional sports teams. One of the most famous basketball coaches in the country, I worked with him last year. I was with him in February before COVID hit. And he was having a struggling season. And he said, I go, what's the problem? He goes, I can't motivate the kids. And I go, how come you think? And he goes, well, they've all gotten participation trophies. He goes, I can't motivate them because they've gotten participation trophies. That's how come you can't motivate kids. I go, you know who else got participation trophies? He goes, who? I go, the team that beat you last night. You know who else got them? He goes, who? The team that beat you on Wednesday. You know who else got participation trophies? The team you play tomorrow night. You better find another excuse, hadn't you? Because you know what the great people want? They don't want excuses. They want solutions. What do average people want? Excuses, because it lets them off the hook. Then the problem isn't them. The problem is participation trophies, our school funding, our society today, our COVID, our whatever, and the great people realize it's them. When you're struggling with what you're doing, the first place you look is in the mirror. It's not the last place you look, but it's always the first place you look. And great people understand that.
You are a lightning rod, and I am so excited that we got this interview in the sense that we can get this out to people that haven't seen you yet, that are going to get your books. They're going to go on YouTube and try to find other things that you've talked about. And I promise you, it's just as good, if not better, than what you heard today. So thank you so much for joining us for the interview. I really appreciate it.
Anytime. And I'm nobody. If anybody ever wants to visit, because sometimes we feel lonely in our positions. We don't know what to do and we're stuck and we're afraid to be vulnerable and ask. People can contact me anytime they want to. My website's toddwhitaker.com. I don't have any people. My Twitter handle is @ToddWhitaker, and I'd love to hear from people. And the reason's very simple. I don't want you to do it wrong, because if you do it wrong, you're weaker and the other people are stronger. And then what happens is you start to lose confidence. And I don't want that for people. Okay? I appreciate what everyone does. Thanks to all the leaders, thanks to all the teachers, and thanks for making a difference every day. Adam, you're amazing, and I feel very blessed and honored to have a chance to spend some time with you tonight. Thank you.